I love movies, but now I have this fear that my job is to ruin them.
What's going on, ScreenRant? It's Liam Crowley here at South by Southwest in beautiful Austin, Texas, and I'm here with the one and only Dewayne Perkins from the studio. Dewayne, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me. This is so cool.
I am thrilled to talk about this show because it's such high energy. I was saying right before we started, it's got the in the background, and it just makes you energetic watching it. Did that energy translate on set as well?
Yes, I would say it was one of the most positive filming experiences I've ever had. It was so dope. I'm very happy to be a part of it, and I can't wait for people to see it.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Entourage in a way because of just the fact that we're dealing with real Hollywood in a lens of fictional Hollywood. But part of me is like, we're taking a peek behind the curtain, and this is your side of the industry. So how accurate is this?
I would say pretty accurate. It's very funny being able to be at a place to where now I get the inside jokes, and I'm like, I get it now. I see it, and this is it. Yeah.
Yeah. You play Tyler within the studio, working for the Continental.
Yes.
Tyler, can I call him a yes man?
Oh yeah.
He's a bit of a yes man.
Oh yeah, he's a man that wants to keep his job.
What's his relationship like with Seth Rogen's character?
It is very much that of a person who's like, oh, he's my boss, therefore there's a certain hierarchy, and I think that kind of dictates the choices that he makes, and that's something that I kept as an actor, being in spaces that were very similar, writers' rooms have a similar hierarchy where you just know okay, this is the person that makes the choices, and I have to kind of appease them, and I feel like that's what I tried to bring to Tyler most, is kind of that sense of I am a person, but within capitalism, am I?
That energy is definitely captured in the episodes I've seen. I don't want to spoil too much, but the first episode, I think it's fair to say we can talk about the Kool-Aid bit. I feel like it's a big structure of how the season's going to operate. And for our audience, basically, they're making a movie based on Kool-Aid. And the new head of the studio wants to be artistic, but there's a pushback to make sure it's franchisable, blockbuster-izable, if that's a word. For you, do you have a movie that you've seen where it strikes that perfect balance of this is IP, this is intellectual property, but it's also really artistic, and it hits you?
That's a great question. I do watch a lot of honestly, I would say Black Panther really was that. Specifically with Black people. I've never in my life kind of experienced a movie at that level that was such a culturally impactful movie. I remember seeing that with multiple people, multiple times. People had costumes. It was just such a huge thing, and I feel like it really was a way that they did a superhero movie that brought a lot of life. So that's one that I think really was oh, this is Marvel, but also, oh, it really was very special. Yeah, and I feel like ever since I've never really experienced it again. It felt very singular in that way.
Yeah, my answer is Toy Story 3. Have you seen it?
Was that the one where they were in the fire?
Yes.
When I mentioned that scene in probably every meeting that I have about plot, it was such an emotionally impactful scene.
Yeah.
Where I remember being are these toys about to die? Are they about to burn Woody and just to see them all hold hands and be we finna go out together was something that I will also never forget. So great choice.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, IP, but also that story, I think it was 2009, 15, 16 years later, still sticks with me. Something really cool about the studio, like I mentioned, you guys are working with real people, maybe caricatures of these real people. I'm not going to say any of the names that are involved, but some I popped for. I was oh, there's so-and-so, there's so-and-so. Who is the, I just said we're not going to name any names, but I can't ask you this question without asking you to name names. Who is the most fun to have on set?
Luckily, she's in the trailer, so there's no spoilers or anything. But getting to work with Zoe Kravitz, I thought was very cool. Because I, as a fan, I didn't know her. I was just I had a point of view of being oh God, that's Zoe Kravitz, and then just hanging out with her. And I just love a celebrity who's just normal. It's a small thing, but she was just so chill. And I love that. And I saw her recently at the Essence Black Women in Hollywood brunch, and I was hey, I went up to say hi, and I don't feel very famous. I feel very much just like I just got here. I'm just happy to be here. So I went up to say hi, and I was like, I hope you remember me. And she was like, Yeah, what? So yeah, shout out to Zoe.
I won't say who it is because some of my friends who will watch the show will pop for this guy, but the director that pops up in the first episode, I was like,
Isn't that insane?
right?
It's it's crazy. Even
Yeah.
watching it, I'm like, what?
And he's so good too. I was
It's
like, I've never seen
fantastic.
this person act before.
And that's why it's so cool. I feel like it really took people that you like know from like a parasocial kind of perspective. Then you get to see them do things that like you've just never seen them do. And I think that is so like legit cool. Like every time the times that I've seen the show, I was just like, this is cool. Like this is really cool. And I'm just happy to be a part of something that's like that I find like cool. I'm like, wow. And I hope people think it's cool because every episode was just something that I was like, damn, that's really cool. Even like from the way it's shot to the people that's in it, it just feels very cool to me.
I did actually. That was the question I was going to wrap on. The way it's shot, there's a lot of one shots in this show, and it walks around like I'm walking through the studio. I feel like I'm like a playable character in this, and I'm walking around interacting with all these people. What is that like for you as an actor? Like where, if the camera's starting on Seth Rogen over here and you're over there, but you know it's going to get to you eventually, when do you start acting? When do you start, getting in that headspace?
The whole time, like I think that's what was very special to me. And I watch Seth a lot. He has very much been like a blueprint for the way that I have wanted to kind of tailor my own career. So I feel like in that regard, I'm going to steal it. I'm like, that way of shooting, I think brought a level of energy. It brought a level of like camaraderie because it was one take. So if you messed up, you have to, like, everybody has to do it again. So it put everybody on the same playing field. And me working with people that I've looked up to for years, coming in nervous and being like, oh no, like this, like we all have to work together. It created such an ensemble feel. And I come from like improv, sketch, musical, so I'm like an ensemble like baby. Like I love an ensemble, and it really just put us all in that same space where we were like, oh, we're all acting at the same time, because at any point the camera could whip to you and you just have to be on. So there was like no coverage in the sense of like you can turn off because the camera's not on you. It felt like theater, and that brought a certain level of energy that I think that's what you were talking about earlier, like like that energy was like in the room, because once you get to take 20, you're like, we're in this together. Like it felt like so much like football, just being like, all right, and here's another take. Like it was, I really loved it, and I'm trying to figure out how to take that and bring it to the things that I'm creating for myself.
Wow. So it seems like you learned a lot from this project.
I
which is
did.
really, really
I
cool.
really did. I'm very grateful for it.
I'm thrilled. The studio coming to Apple TV Plus very, very soon. Dewayne, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
When you make a good movie, it's good forever.